You're listening to Estrogen Dropouts.
Welcome back to Estrogen Dropouts. I'm one of your hosts, Erin.
And I'm your other host, Elizabeth. Today we are talking about a video on TikTok that is going viral that I think really pertains to our generation. It is a woman in her 40s who was saying that her husband, who is in his 50s, and they have different ideas of what their dreams are in retirement. And she has a passion to move to New York City, and she's always wanted to be in New York City, but they live in the South. And he owns a business there that is very successful that he cannot or is not willing to leave. They have adult children. And so she's like, he's asking me to give up my dream to stay in the South when my heart is in New York City. And she said, I feel like I'm at the stage in my life where, is he worth it? Is he worth like me? Is anyone worth it? Like of me losing my lifelong dream of experiencing living in New York City and just to let that go.
Well, it's interesting because I have a thought about New York City. This is a completely random thought, but I could never live in New York City unless I was rich because it's so hard. It's a hard city to live in. I mean, you have to have money or you're living in a fifth floor walk up with, no AC or whatever. But obviously, it sounds like he's got a successful business. And so I could see where she would want to be able to live out that dream. So what were some of the comments saying? I'm just curious before I give my opinion on it.
A lot of women are feeling the exact same way and they're in the same predicament. And a lot of women are saying, no, like this is my next chapter. Leave him. And, I think like you could just I think she should go part time and like rent a place. You can Airbnb a place for like 3 months out of the year, pick the time of year that you like the weather and try it, or a couple months, start with 30 days and extend it. Like I think something not so drastic. And there are a lot of comments like that. Just Airbnb it for a month and test it out. Because again, she's like, I don't know that I really love it. I've like made this out to be a dream in my mind. But a lot of women are like, no, like leave him. Like if he won't go with you, you stayed with him while he built this company and it is your turn.
Right. I mean, I think it is kind of drastic to say divorce him, but I am like you. I would say it would be cool, like every year Airbnb for however many days they can agree upon for her to be gone and that she feels comfortable with being gone and just see. Because one thing about Airbnb, it would give her the flexibility to change areas, right? So she starts in Brooklyn and then she goes to live in Manhattan. And it would give her some flexibility to get to know different areas and see, okay, is this something that I could see for myself doing long term? Also, I think that then maybe it could be that he doesn't necessarily move there, but he could come and visit, like come for a week, once a month. Then it's like where he wouldn't be living there, but come up for a week. They go to see some shows. They go to some of the restaurants and all of that. I don't think that she should just give up on her dream.
I think she's so hurt, but I think that, and I think you would agree with that statement too. But I just think she's so hurt at this point that he's not valuing her dream as much as she valued his. And that's why she's thinking of leaving.
No, but that is so true. It's like she was willing to okay, I've never wanted to particularly stay in the South, but you're building a business. We're raising our kids here. This is where our roots are. I'm going to do that. And then when the kids are all on their own and he could step back from the business some, or, if one of the kids are going to help take it over and he could start cutting back. But Jeff and I, we have some of similar thoughts about where we want to retire, where we want to live. And then we have some very wildly different thoughts. Because my dream has been, and you might laugh at this, my dream is I want to live on a commune with a bunch of tiny homes or smaller homes, but have a big community house where you can go and you can have meals together a couple times a week, have central laundry facilities. So you bring your laundry there. And I would love, it'd have to be people with similar values and morals. And I'm not talking a free love where people are hooking up with each other. Not that, when you think of a commune, a lot of times you think of a hippie where it's free love and, stinky people with, hairy underarms.
Smell like patchouli all the time.
Yeah. But so it's like whatever your strengths are. I mean, and this might be like a utopia. I might be like her. Like, her dream is to live in New York City. She gets there and she's like, New York is dirty, it's stinky, and it's gross. Why did I ever think I wanted to live here? I have to walk everywhere. I bring groceries and I have to like lug them home. I can't just pull into my air conditioned garage and have them unloaded. But like I've always had this dream of living like at a group of people with similar like-minded individuals. And then so like if gardening is your thing, then we have a big community garden and you help with the garden. If you don't mind cooking 2 times a week, then you're a person that does, some of the meals for the group. And if you're a person who like doesn't mind laundry, you help do laundry or, so everyone kind of pitches in. And a really funny side note is this summer on my birthday, I went to Savannah where I'm from and where my 2 older boys live. And well, actually my cousin was in town and we had a big brunch to meet my cousin. And at this brunch, I was talking about it and I found out it's both of my sister's dreams and my cousin's dream are to live on a big piece of land with like-minded individuals. So my cousin started sending me some listings for some real estate, But yeah, so I mean, I can understand. And Jeff is like, absolutely not. Like, I don't want to live in a tiny home. I don't want to live in your clubhouse. I don't like people that much to like want to.
I'm with Jeff. I'm like, there's no chance. And you and I are so similar that I remember when I heard this for the first time, I was shocked. I was like, I mean, I know you're more outgoing than I am, but I mean, I'm outgoing, but you can do a lot more activities and stay busy. I'm like an extrovert introvert more than you are. Like I have to take more time to recover than you do.
But you have your own place.
But
So
it's
you
tiny.
Well, I don't mean it doesn't have to be a tiny home. I just mean I don't want it to be a big giant home. The main house where everybody could gather could have like extra bedrooms that if you were to have like your kids come, they could stay in that. Like you would say, hey, my kids are going to be here May 7th through the 13th. And that you would be able to have access to the main house. And everybody, you pay for your own utilities on your house, but then the main house, everybody kind of like shares the responsibility for. I don't know. I mean, it's probably a very utopian dream. Like it wouldn't
It's
work.
interesting that you and your sisters I mean, did you guys know anyone?
No, none of us I've never known anybody that's done this.
Maybe it's meant
And
to be for y'all to do it together. I mean, it's kind of weird that you all have the same dream.
yes, and I never knew that my sisters felt this way or that my cousin. I don't see my cousin very often. And I was kind of shocked that my cousin thought that too, because she's definitely more of an introvert than like I am. My older sister's definitely more of an extrovert than me. And then my youngest sister is probably a little bit more introverted. And I have a brother, and I doubt very seriously my brother would be down for this. I think men are rarely down for it. I think women are more down for it.
Yeah. I could see my son doing something like that.
Really?
Yeah, just because he's all about like he does
Community?
community and earthiness and like not doing your share and like that's what he really wants to move to Europe because he likes Amsterdam particularly. Like he just likes like he thinks you should bike everywhere. He thinks everyone should work together as a society to
Like how we did in the old days, like with
yeah.
villages. And it's like where the ladies used to, I've read the statistic. I don't remember the exact details of it, but like when women used to go to like the stream or whatever and do laundry together. Now, granted, thank God we have washing machines now. So I'm not advocating for returning to like that little board that you have to scrub your clothes on. But it was like everybody had that connection time, right? It was like you got to see, all the women of the village and you were together. And I mean, don't get me even started on unfair labor. But anyways, then when washing machines were invented, it was like depression, like skyrocketed, women were more lonely. I actually was with a girlfriend this past weekend and that's what she was saying. Like her dream would be, I mean, because women do live longer than men. And so not that she's and I'm certainly not like looking that, oh, my husband's going to die before me one day. But realistically, statistics say that they are. And I don't want to live in a big house by myself. And then my kids all live different places. And, I would want to be not necessarily like in a retirement community, but something like some kind of community kind of like what I'm talking about, where everybody kind of works together, you know,
Yeah, I could see if Chris died, like joining. So I could see myself living on something like that if
joining a
Chris died,
cult.
like, but on a commune and like, because then I think the community is very important if you don't have your partner anymore. I mean,
Yeah. But also, you I think community is important even if you do have your partner because you don't want to count on one person for everything in your life. A lot of times when people get in relationships, they drop all their friends. I You would never want to be with that person that when, you're just because you're married, it's like the only person you spend time with is your spouse. I think that's how we do live longer when we have those connections with people. Even micro connections, there's a study that I read about that. Like even the micro connections that you have in the grocery store or when you're, at the gym and somebody just like says, "Hey, how are you?" And you're like, "Hey, how are you?" Those actually give you, they boost your immune system and give you like more resiliency in your health than if you never see people, which was why the pandemic was so awful, right? Because we were all trapped at home and we didn't have any of those micro connections. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that woman should give up on her dream, but I think there's a way for her to find the balance between her dream and then also not just divorcing her husband.
yeah, I have a gypsy, or like a gypsy soul. I want to move all the time, want to experience a lot of different cultures and a lot of different areas. Like my heart has never been in like, let's stay somewhere forever. That's feels like so boring to me. And Chris is not like this. Chris is like, he thinks you stay in one place forever and that's it. You create this home. This is the longest place we lived anywhere. We've been here for 12 years this summer. But before this, he was in the military. We moved a lot. And I've been saying, like, I want to move abroad. I want to move to the South. I want to experience like warmer weather. I want to do all these different things. And I really want to like live in a city for like, this is what I've always said. I want to live in a city for 3 to 6 months a year and really experience it. Not like a big city though. I'm more like small towns or villages or that kind of thing. And Chris, I know that is no chance happening with him. And so that's when I started traveling by myself. And so back in 2021, when I went to Mexico for 10 days and we stayed in a little village. And then when I went with you to Italy, and we also stayed in a little village and we were there for 10 days as well. And I really think that that alone, like, took away that urge that I had of where I thought I needed to live somewhere for 3 to 6 months in a little village to experience it. 10 days abroad, that's like a magic sweet spot. That's the number. And then we just went to Europe again over Christmas and we did 11 days, I believe. So, and that was like, I was done. At the end of it, I'm like, I'm ready to go back to the States. Like, I'm ready for Virginia again. And so I feel like if you have like some type of an urge, you've got to experiment with it and experience it a little bit, maybe in small doses. And then it can just keep getting longer and longer until you find the part where your cup is full. And I think if she went for like 30 days, she would know how she felt. She might miss the South. I mean, she's used to good weather. It's freezing in New York and it's smelly and it's loud. And it's like, you might think
Dirty.
that it's so cool to be around all those cultures and all that. Like, look, I get all those cultures. It's why I love Northern Virginia. It's a melting pot. There's not, you go everywhere. There's people of all different races everywhere. So it's one of the reasons I love it here. And so you don't have to go that far north to experience that. And Atlanta, like that's a big multicultural city. You can
Very.
experience that there. So if she's looking for diversity, I believe she was like in a small town in South Carolina. So if you're looking for diversity, you could go somewhere not,
Well, she could try New York, she could try Chicago, she could try different
yeah.
cities too. The thing is, too, I wonder though, like for you, you're lucky Chris is supportive of like, hey, you can go away. Like he doesn't try to like hold you back from doing it. And
No.
so I think that is a big,
You're
you know,
right. People, I think guys do that. And if your husband does that, I think you need to tell him where to shove it and you need to go off and do it. I mean, I
that's
would not tolerate.
right. That's the thing. If she said to him, hey, I'm going to rent an Airbnb in New York for the summer or whatever time, and he was like, no. It's like if he's absolutely not being supportive of her even experiencing that, then that may be when she needs to take a harder look at, like, okay, is this a can forgo? Or is this too much of a deal breaker that, hey, like, no, I want to be able to do this thing. I mean, I think, marriage is always a compromise. You are always trying to meet in the middle. You're
Yeah.
not ever trying to be so set on your point or dream or whatever it is that you're not willing to at least have some flexibility and look at the other person, at what their needs are, what their wants are, what their desires are. And so I think that's one of the biggest things is that you have to find common ground and and compromise on some things. Like she'd have to compromise on maybe we're not going to live there year round. Or compromise that he's not going to come with me and we're not going to live there full time, but I'm going to live there for twice a year for 30 days. And then he has to compromise and say, okay, I don't want to live there full time, but she'll go up for 30 days and I'll go and visit her.
Yeah, and I do understand her angst about it. I had a mini fit a couple months ago. I was just realizing I want more adventure in my life, and and more adventure being more exploration of other areas and cities. It's just something in me that I need to go and see and travel and do and all these things. And so I was but I want to stay there. In my mind, I keep thinking I want to stay there longer than 10 days. The truth is, I think 10 days is good for most of the time, but in my mind, I keep romanticizing this, right? And so I keep thinking I do. And I just said to Chris one day, this was I don't know, 5 months ago, I was you literally were in the military. I moved all over for you. We get out, then we're in Virginia, and then he gets a job in Maryland. We move to Maryland, and then we're back to Virginia. And I'm I've moved so many times for you. I've followed you around. I've had a job, but because I've felt that I wanted to work, but then I've had to quit because his schedule is so demanding. There's no way that I could raise the kids and be there in the evenings and the weekends and all of the times where he's not or get them off to school. Anyway, I have to be there for that. So I'm I've literally just followed you around and supported you and done everything that you want to do. You've decided everything. And that makes I'm feeling not,
Resentment.
yeah, I was because I want an adventure and you want, I'm you could easily be a government, he's a contractor or to defense, he's a defense contractor. And so I'm you could do that in so many different cities. You can do that in another country on a military base in another country for the United States. You can contract over there. I'm I need something and you won't even look. And he's I love my job. It fills me up. I love it. I feel like I'm serving our country. And he has that big need to do that. And he's I'm a part of this team. I feel I get a lot of value from that. I'm still feeling a little bitter about it. And so that's why I just have to continue to travel and just go off and do my own thing. And now I realize too, the past 3 years, every winter I get a little angsty because I cannot stand the cold. I used to be able to, I used to, now we're getting a big snowstorm this weekend. It's going to be fine or fun. I'm sure I'll enjoy seeing the snowfall. It's pretty, but I really want 80 degrees and sunny. So, I might have to start taking some of my own advice and doing an Airbnb for a month in Florida. And he's just going to have to come and go in between
Right.
on weekends or something when
Yeah.
he gets days off.
Even better, go somewhere in the Caribbean.
Yeah. And just, and
Yeah.
live there
For
for
30
30
days,
days.
you're okay, I'm going to be there for the month of February or something. When you really, it's Jeff and I were just talking about this other day. It's post Christmas, January, a lot of times people get the blues just because the holidays are over and everything. And you're kind of back to the, everyday life. And especially if you've had decorations up and you take everything down and all of a sudden your house looks so bare for a week until you reset, your barometer for your house. But I can get through January. I mean, and it's cold. But for some reason, February is when I start getting antsy and more, I have seasonal affective disorder, which you probably do as well. I need the sun. I don't like gray, dreary days, too many in a row. I like one every now and then, a good, cold day where you can stay inside and you can make soup and you can drink hot tea or whatever. But so that would be my dream. Yeah. Is just maybe the end of January through, mid February or something where just get away somewhere really warm and, just have a chance to get some sunshine because I definitely need sun to feel I need light to feel normal.
Yeah. And I feel like I think I could stay longer in the South if it was like in somewhere tropical weather, nice weather, or even American food and stuff. I think that's my big thing with traveling overseas is that at some point you get like, I just want a steak and like some veggies because even when we were in Italy, like they do not eat a ton of veggies everywhere. They don't eat
Yeah.
salads. There's like, I was like, I kept texting my family, like, if I don't get some broccoli, I feel like I'm gonna.
So when we went, we did a long trip. I think it was 2 weeks. We went to a couple Greek islands, and then we ended up going to Italy. And we went with another couple that we travel with. I was like, I need some broccoli. Like seriously, I've had enough tomatoes, and I've had enough feta cheese. And I'm Greek. Like my dad's mom was Greek, and so I thought I was going to be like, I thought I was going to get there and be like, this is my homeland, and I was like, I need something green. I mean,
Yeah.
it was nothing, it was just like, oh my gosh.
The
I
same
would,
was just happened to us in Europe whenever we did the cruise and there was like they did veggies on the ship, but it was
if
still
you're out and
limited.
about,
Do
yeah.
it.
I said, but if you're out and about,
Yeah,
like
if
if
you're
you're
out and
eating in
about.
a
Yeah.
restaurant,
No,
yeah,
we ate in town at restaurants a few times. There's no veggies. It's like pasta and it's weird
well, the
food.
only
I don't
veggie
know.
they had was tomatoes,
Yeah. That's it's so weird to me. I
which is
don't know.
really true, but
And then in Mexico, we got a lot of fruit, but it wasn't like heavy on like I'm usually like a 3 or 4 veggies with a meat or main, like or beans, like with a protein and then 3 or like veggies. There's like they do not eat veggies like Americans do.
I know. Or like how you and I do. I think we
Yeah.
eat better than the standard American diet. But yeah, I mean, I eat veggies like we usually had, especially when my kids were growing up and I cooked full on meals. It was like 2 veggies and a meat. And because my boys, they love like potatoes. So I would cook roast potatoes or something
Hmm.
like that. I mean, I rarely ever made mashed potatoes or anything like that, but I'd give them roasted potatoes or sometimes rice. But we always would have broccoli and green beans or roasted cauliflower, sweet potatoes, roasted butternut squash. I mean, every vegetable just about, Brussels sprouts, whatever. And salad. Many nights growing up, when they were growing up, I had some kind of green salad every night.
I know it's so weird. They just do not do that overseas.
No, I know. I was so ready for some broccoli that we actually ended up in Athens, and that I finally we found some broccoli. My girlfriend and I, we were just like, oh my God, they have broccoli on the menu, steamed broccoli. It's like so good. I was over Greek salads.
Yeah,
Like
I love a Greek salad. I can't, but I can see how after a while you're like, come
days
on.
and days and days
Yeah.
and days. I was like, I can't eat another tomato. I can't eat any more feta cheese. I was like, I'm done.
Hmm.
Done. So yeah, I definitely. Well, so do you have like for that lady in particular, we said, obviously finding some common ground. Do you have any other like things that you think would be helpful to somebody who's kind of going through that? Like, what would be your best advice for someone?
I think to try to temper yourself to not be too like sassy or rude where they shut down. I have heard good advice. I've heard people say if you really want to get through to your spouse, take your clothes off. And so take a shower together and tell them. And because otherwise they're just kind of like in defense mode. But if guys like they're so like they just decompress if they see you naked. Now, I have not done this, but anyway, I
That
can see how
sounds
that
a
would
little
work.
bit like blackmail to me, but I mean, whatever works for people. It's
Yeah,
like,
but don't give up on your dreams. Just sometimes you got to shift it a little bit. And unless he's totally just, I mean, a divorce is definitely extreme, but I don't think it's out of the question if somebody is not valuing. I mean, there's going to be a host of other issues if you're contemplating divorce over this, right? So there's got to
yeah,
be.
I mean, I think there can't just be that one.
It can't.
Like,
Yeah,
if she's divorcing him over this, then it's not about that.
yeah. There's other stuff going on too, but definitely express how you've supported him and or her, if who knows, and say how you've supported them, and ask that it's time that you also feel valued, and just tell them how you feel. Like if this is a dream, tell them how important it is. I think a lot of times men don't realize how important things are, and a lot of times as women we think we say very little things and we think they should pick up and know like how much value it has to us without telling them. We need to be very specific and spell it out. what this means to you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've always said that like your spouse is not a mind reader. And so if you're thinking, well, he should know or she should know, they
Or if you
don't.
make like passive comments frequently and you're like, they should know because I've said it, this and this. No, you need to literally sit them down and be like, look, this is how I feel.
Yeah. So I think doing it in a neutral time too, when like even setting a time, like, hey, Thursday night, let's go out to dinner and let's talk about, set the so that it's not a surprise where you're not springing it on the person, let them know Thursday night, let's go to dinner and I want to talk about, my dream of living in New York. And that way somebody, can be ready to like receive
Receive it.
information and then keeping it very neutral, like not getting personal. Like you keeping it like I statements, like I would love to live in New York. Here's why. And not saying you always do this. I think keeping it more about how you rather than them so they don't get defensive because people automatically get defensive. And when they get defensive, they shut down listening. And so they can't hear anything else that you're saying.
Yeah, agreed.
I also think that, one of the things is that even brainstorming like a third way or a third option, like, okay, well, you don't want to live in New York and I don't want to live in the South. Maybe we can find somewhere that we can live that is going to be okay for both of us. I mean, besides the fact if she did the yearly thing where she went or something like that. But for whatever it is, if it's like, Jeff and I could like, for instance, like because I want to live on a commune, maybe I could find some type of an intentional community that would allow me to go and live there for 30 days a year or something in that way. So I'm not living there permanently. It's not a commune, but he's like, okay, I could do that. Or saying like, okay, no, well, maybe we're not going to live in a commune, but maybe we could go and live, for 30 days every year in a small village in Italy or something, And so I think sometimes brainstorming a third way could be,
Yeah, I think that's great.
a good way to kind of address it. But yeah. And then, I mean, obviously if it got to the point where, it was like very tense or whatever is maybe getting a mediator, like a third party that's, like say your financial planner or even a good therapist who could be objective and share, like listen to both of you and then say, okay, here's what I see, what you're saying. Here's what I see, what I say. Sometimes like when you live with somebody for a long time and you're married to them, it's like you already are predicting kind of what they're going to say, or you're predicting what they're thinking because you have these patterns of like behavior with each other. And so if somebody else is like listening in a third neutral party, you're liable to listen to them and hear them thoroughly than you are maybe your spouse because you're so many things are already like patterns that you are buying into about them. You've already made decisions because of your past experiences, your past relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I think that, there can be the way forward for her, hopefully. Did she ever give an update?
She didn't.
Okay, but she had a lot of comments.
Comments and she was a little aggressive in her post. So I feel like she was leaning more toward this is a deal breaker, but there probably is a lot of other
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that like
but I don't know. So I don't want to
in
speculate.
a normal like if it's a healthy like marriage where you're both being fulfilled, I just don't think that would be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Like so maybe there is something else going on that she is.
Or maybe it is. Who knows? Maybe she's got some inner pull because there's some purpose that she has in New York City that you never know. I don't know. I kind of believe that sometimes people have a bigger purpose and sometimes things unravel the way they need to for you to, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
No,
I got a hot topic.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay. My hot topic is a little interesting. Okay. This is also going viral. And I've never heard of this before, and I cannot get over this, but I've got to see if you've heard of this. Have you heard of when you shower and you're on your period that you scoop out your menstrual blood?
No, but how do you scoop it out?
That's
like you're just
I cannot believe it. So this girl
that sounds like a DNC, like what they would do if you had a retained miscarriage.
I'm dying over this. This is literally a big thing on TikTok right now. So this girl I mean, woman, she's like 35 or something. She just casually, she did a video and she's talking about, and she's like, like when you scoop and then whatever,
And
and you
people
just,
are like, oop.
and everybody, a lot of people in the comments were like, what are you talking about? And a lot of other people are like, yeah, I do the same. I do the same. And I'm like, what? So then she responds to the video for all of us that are like completely clueless and is like, when you are on your period, she's like, I thought everybody did this. When you're on your period and you're taking a shower, you put your hand inside your vagina and you scoop out any like blood that is in the vaginal canal. And she's like, it's fine because you're like washing your hand right there and you just wash it. And she's like, it's all fine. That's how you get clean. And she's like, and then you don't bleed very much after that because you got it all out. And everyone's like, yeah, my periods are so much lighter after I do this. And they're like, swearing. Doctors are commenting. They're like, this is literally not a thing. Doctors are commenting saying,
I
you're
was
not
gonna say,
touching your cervix. It's impossible
you're
for,
not scooping out your uterus, which is what
yeah,
is the shedding. If she knew a period is where the lining of your uterus sheds because you haven't fertilized the egg and it comes out slowly. I mean, you would have to go and dilate your cervix, reach your hand up
yeah,
into your uterus and like take a sponge and like scrub it
yeah.
out. So,
So
no,
she even brought out like a diagram and she was like, my hand does not reach my cervix, but I just put it in and scoop. I'm
I mean,
like,
she's just getting out what's in the vaginal canal,
right,
which I
that's
mean
what
is going
she's
to come
getting
out
at.
anyway.
But apparently, this is a big thing. And a lot of women do this, which I would have thought she was the only one. Besides the comments, everyone's like, oh, yeah, I can't believe so many women don't do this. I'm like,
You're like, okay, like, yeah, no. So I haven't had a period for a couple years. Well, actually, even before that, because I had an ablation. And that's where they go in and they put a balloon inside your uterus and then they burn. And then it burns off your uterine lining. So you don't have a period. Or if you have a period, it's a very, very light. You have a very light period. But when I got my periods, I mean, for years and years and years, I wore tampons. But then I switched to a Diva cup, which, if any of our listeners are still menstruating, if you don't have a Diva cup, you are missing out. They're the best thing
yeah,
because,
I have a Diva
yeah,
cup.
tampons will like, sometimes they just get stuck or not stuck, but like
There's
they feel like
something
they're
new.
ripping your inside. And also, it's bleached cotton. I mean, unless you buy the unbleached ones.
There's something new that this next generation's doing, not even Diva Cups anymore. There's something new that people are saying is better. I have not read up on it or tried it, but it's some kind of a disc. They're saying it's the disc. And you put it in there, like it's so much easier to insert and take out, and it's just so much better.
Huh. Well, it must be a similar thing to the Diva cup. For me, also, it was the environmental impact on like, think about if you use 3 tampons a day, 20, let's say your cycle's 7 days, you're using 21 tampons. First off, tampons are damn expensive. I
Yeah.
mean, we are being like, basically like raked over the coals with everything because we pay more for everything for razors. And, there's the pink tax. And tampons are expensive. So for me, the environmental aspect of it, and also there's less chance of toxic shock when you use a Diva cup or a disc or whatever. A lot of people, when I would tell people about it, you're like, oh my God, Diva cup's the best thing. People are like, oh, you have to put your hand up inside of you. I'm like, it's not a big thing. Like, you should know your own anatomy. You should be familiar with your, vulva, your vagina, your
And if
clitoris.
you're in public, I just found out that they sell like they look like little finger condoms, but they're like just for your fingers.
Like a
So that way, if you're out in public and you have to dump it or
empty.
whatever, empty it, yeah, then you could use the finger sleeves.
Well, I was able to just like change mine or, dump mine in the morning and then at night,
Me too.
except maybe on my heaviest day, then I may have to do it midday. So for her to say that she's scooping out her period, I just think that's like
That's,
insane. And she's like, she probably has, I don't know. Yeah. And that other people are doing it. That's
I
very,
know.
very
I can't
interesting.
wait to ask my daughters, but I'm waiting until they're in front of me to ask so I can see their face well, I should do it on FaceTime with Hannah, but I'm just want to see. I'm like, do you know the scooping? Who knows? They might do it. It seemed like most of the people that were doing it were younger.
Younger.
So I'm wondering, like, if
There's a lot of crazy things out there. I will tell you because I saw something crazy today and I'm not even going to mention it on the podcast.
oh my God, what is it?
So I follow this lady. She's a big podcaster. Her name is Laura Cleary. And she shared this. It was a video that she shared, but then she shared her shocked look when she found out what it is. It's called vabbing.
So,
Vabbing. And I was like, what in the world is vabbing? And it was like a TLC show. The woman she's like, I'm addicted to vabbing. So I'm thinking like, is that like vaping with your butt? I don't know. I hope our listeners are just like hanging in here with us for today. But vabbing is where she will stick her finger in her vagina and then she takes her vaginal fluid and will wipe it on her pulse points to
oh my
support.
God. No.
Yes. Apparently that's a thing.
No. That's
Some
terrible.
people think some people think it like
an aphrodisiac probably for men or something.
yeah, but I'm like, no, that's not what pheromones are. They're not vaginal fluid.
Oh my God, I would die. No. The idea of even like hugging someone that does that, like if this is common and like, I know I'm not.
Well,
friends
so
with
that's one of the comments that I read. The lady was like, this is why I don't shake hands with people I don't know. I'm like, I've got to remember this. I'm going to stop shaking hands with people because you never know. Somebody was,
That's
Anyway.
insane.
So I've learned 2 vagina related little topics today, which I didn't set out on a regular Wednesday to learn.
That is so funny. Ugh, terrible.
Yeah. So you'll have to ask your daughters if they know what vabbing is.
Oh, I will. I'm FaceTiming as soon as we get off.
Yeah, you're like scooping and vabbing.
Yeah.
Like, do you do either? And they're like, I don't even know what those are. You're like, okay, thank God. Yeah. So well,
funny. I mean, but if you are a scooper, I don't
hey,
think it's fine. I mean, that's what the lady said in the video. She was like, look, why is everyone
she's in the
stressing out?
shower.
Yeah, she's like, I'm in the shower. You put your hand up here to do other things. Like, I don't know. But
It's
she's
like people who pee in the shower. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
really your business, not
it's,
mine.
yeah. So do your own thing. She's like, it's fine. And she's like,
But if you're a
like, now I'm
vapper,
like, oh my God, do my girls do this? Now I'm going to think differently if like clean their showers or, like, I mean, they clean, Nicole cleans her own, but Hannah doesn't, because she'll just come and stay for a little bit and then I'll clean it. I'm going to be like,
well, aren't you wearing like
no, but
Playtex?
I'm going to. Anyway, that is a thing though. Now I just saw a whole other video on that, on why I don't wear gloves when I clean. And they're like, you should wear gloves just to protect your skin.
Well, you need to be absorbing the chemicals
Yeah, and
on your hands.
Yeah, so I need to.
Yeah, I always do because I just don't want to absorb the chemicals. And also for the reason of like, like especially if you're cleaning toilets. I mean, I use a little,
Yeah.
wand thing, but still, like, I grew up, or excuse me, I had boys that grew up and they don't always hit the toilet like girls. So I never wanted to like touch, tinkle, old tinkle especially.
Okay, so speaking of something else about tinkling and boys, and okay, so I watched Love is Blind Italy, and I love that show, Love is Blind. I'm not a big reality show person, but I will watch Love is Blind every time. I'm obsessed with it. And so it was Love is Blind Italy. Those people are nuts, let me just tell you. Italian women are absolutely nuts. They are so loud, they're so screamy, they're so emotional, like making scenes out in the street, like so over the top. It's insane. And then anyway, but this one gal was dating this Italian guy, and Italian men are just the players. Like it's just their culture. They're very Casanovas. And so she was like, I don't know if I can get over this because he pees sitting down or he pees standing up. That's what she was saying. She goes, he pees standing up. And she's Asian. She has Asian heritage, but she's lived in Italy for many years. And so, and she's like, I think she's Japanese. And so she's like, men in my culture sit down to pee. It's so weird that he's standing up. She's like, I just don't know that I can do it. Like, it's so weird. Anyway, so I just thought that was interesting that sometimes men, like, well, Chris says he will sit down to pee in the middle of the night because he's like, I don't trust my aim if I get up to pee in the middle of the night because he doesn't turn lights on or anything. But he's like, normally he stands anyway. I didn't know that was like a big thing.
Well, I was going to say that's what Jeff in the dark at night.
Yeah.
If he does get up to pee, he sits down just because. Also, if he lifts, like I had him trained very early because I think maybe one time when we were first married, he did leave the toilet seat up, the seat seat up, not the sitting on that.
Oh, it's traumatizing.
In the middle
I did that
of the
when I
night.
was pregnant. Oh my God.
Yeah. So he was like, yes. So he's like, okay, I'll just pee sitting down in the middle of the night. So there's never any worry that I forget to put back down the seat and you don't fall in the. So yeah. Huh. I don't
Interesting.
know if that'd be a deal breaker. It'd be peace
I know
sitting
that's kind of
down.
ridiculous that it's a deal
Yeah.
breaker. That's
People,
ridiculous, but
people are weird.
they
But
are weird.
also, again, reality TV is all about manufacturing drama. So, it could be just like manufactured. Well, we hope that you guys had fun listening to us today. We did take it a little bit off the rails, but if you haven't already hit the follow button on the podcast, do that now. And that way, every Wednesday when an episode is released, you'll get notified.
And follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and you can watch full episodes on YouTube. And we will see you next Wednesday. Have a great week, guys.
Bye.
This has been a production of Estrogen Dropouts, LLC.